So the Eagles got a dominant win yesterday, but what we heard post-game and next day shows where this team really is. It speaks volumes to where they can go and shows how they're still together as a unit. We'll break all of that down. Also, the Eagles officially have the steal of the 2024 NFL Draft. A young rookie making his way into Eagles history books already, and has the defense finally put all the pieces together and figured it out. We'll talk about all of it. But welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do us a favor. Go down below, hit that subscribe button, and help us get to 6K subscribers. The Eagles had their best win of the year yesterday, and they are now undefeated, as Barstool says here, in the Baldiani era. Nick gets a haircut, new man, new team, new life, whatever works. All right, whatever you throw against the wall and sticks and works, that's what we're rolling with. So the Eagles are now 2-0 with Nick Sirianni. And obviously the hero again yesterday was Saquon Barkley. We did a lot of praising of Saquon last night, and I do want to highlight a couple other things, but we have a lot more to get into. However, that performance was so heroic by Saquon. He is now the Eagles leader through 6 games all time in rushing yards when joining the team, and he saw Giant fans burning his jersey in MetLife yesterday in the parking lot when he walked in and said, quote, "In that moment, I was ready for 3rd and 1. Let's just say that." Saquon Barkley is a competitor. He deep down has the highest level of drive, and he's just one of those guys that rises to the moment. And that's exactly what he did yesterday. I knew he was going to cook the Giants, but the fact that the fans were burning his jersey, maybe they should get a jersey of their own GM and then burn that, because again, it's not Saquon's fault. Like Jason Kelsey said yesterday, how are you going to be mad at the guy who wanted to come back? You wouldn't pay him. So I just love how all this came full circle, and Saquon goes out there and he felt all of it, right? He heard the boos. He was ready to strike, and that's exactly what he did. Here is my favorite thing that I heard about Saquon. It really shows his character and what his motive is. Nick Sirianni says that he got word from the box that Saquon was close to the career high yesterday during the game, and he sat there and said, "Listen, here's where you are. Here's what it is." And Saquon looked back at Nick Sirianni and said, quote, "Let the other guys eat. He's a special player. He's a special person." Look, man, Saquon's right about winning. Doesn't care about the numbers, the accolades, whatever. Saquon wants to get to the Super Bowl and win. And for him to not go for the personal achievement and say, let the other guys stay in, let me stay healthy, that speaks volumes to who he is and the type of character on this team. We know the Eagles have a ton of talent with their weapons, but you need good players as well, good guys, good men. And that's something that Sirianni preaches. Speaking of which, Nick Sirianni got a lot of praise yesterday from his guys. And I think that's one thing we've really been curious about. This team has had their highs, they've had their lows, they've been confusing. But the difference is that last year we felt the players starting to quit on Nick. And then they ultimately did. It collapsed. They quit on all the coaches. So far this year, it seems like they at least have his back. Maybe it's not to the point where it could have fallen apart yet. But it's good to hear these guys vocalizing their public backing of Nick Sirianni because, everybody's got to be on the same page. And Jalen Hurts yesterday after the win says, quote, "He knows I'm behind him," right? And even with the antics last week, Nick talked about that. He had to step off his high horse and learn. And Jalen and Saquon, all these other guys said, we have his back. So I do think that is huge for the team around, the team chemistry. And here's a picture yesterday at the end of Saquon Barkley getting benched. I'm guessing this is the moment that Nick was referring to. And Nick is talking with Saquon and they're dapping each other up and Saquon's, shaking his head. Yeah, I got you, coach. I got you. Good stuff. So good to see this communication. Everybody's on the same page. Saquon is an absolute generational talent. I still cannot believe. I woke up this morning pinching myself. Is this real? Saquon on the Eagles just cooked the Giants. And yeah, 100%. This defense, despite the offensive heroics, the defense is figuring it out. And the NFL ranks on defense after 6 games. Eagles are almost top 10 in everything. They are 15th in rushing yards per game allowed, and they are 32nd in takeaways. So they're dead last. But this front line has really stepped it up. I'm talking about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, right? It was only Brandon Graham to begin the season. How about Josh Sweat, who has been a monster over the last couple of games? How about even Bryce Huff, who is starting to make plays? Moro Ajomo, all these guys, Nolan Smith. This team is showing their talent. And, you got to give credit to Vic Fangio for putting these things together. Now, I know everybody's going to sit back, and I do agree to a certain point. Who did you play? You played two of the worst teams in the NFL. We have to keep that in mind, right? It's not like they played the best offenses ever, but if they were struggling against these teams, we would be saying, wow, you can't even beat a bad team. Imagine what's going to happen when you play a good team. So we do have to keep it in mind, but we have to tip our cap to Vic Fangio because he's figuring it out, right? He's drawing up different things. He's getting guys in the backfield. We're hitting the quarterback. And overall, they look like a much better structured defense. They look like they are actually practicing the fundamentals. The Eagles' defensive ranks are better than really what we've seen on the eye test so far. And they've put together 2 good games in a row, 3 out of the last 4. Last 2 weeks, the Eagles' defense has more sacks than points allowed. That's a big stat, big feat. Obviously, again, Watson and Jones are terrible. But, I mean, you have to dominate who's on the schedule. You don't control that. So I love the way they're playing. And big shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs, right? These guys got a lot of criticism after the first 2 to 3 weeks. We talked about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, etc. When are they going to step up? Well, here we go. And yesterday, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, and Nakobe Dean combined for 17 tackles, 7 quarterback hits, 6 tackles for losses, and 5 sacks. The Georgia Bulldogs were eating. That is 100% correct. And this is what they will need. This was a great confidence boost. The Giants are literally like batting practice, right? They're like dummies out there. It's a great way to get your confidence, get your composure up. That way, when you go into the next couple weeks, and let's be honest, right? The Eagles still have a favorable schedule. They're playing the Jags, the Bengals, the Cowboys. They should be able to dominate these games. And when you look at the standings picture, they're 4-2. It's been a weird year in the NFL, but the Eagles win the next 3, they're 7-2. So they have a really good shot to take that leap here, but there are still some questions. However, one question that no longer remains is Quinyon Mitchell. Ladies and gentlemen, I said it yesterday. I think he's ready to become the leader of the secondary. I know it's a bold take for a rookie, but the Eagles' investment in their corners in this draft in Quinyon and Cooper DeJean has been absolutely spectacular. Malik Neighbors targeted twice with Quinyon in coverage, 1 catch for 9 yards. This is an absolute stud of a rookie receiver in Neighbors, and Quinyon locked them up. Let's take it even further. 28 defensive backs have been targeted at least 33 times this season. Quinyon ranks first out of those 28 in passer rating allowed, a true star in the making. This dude is next level. This dude is a pure shutdown, lockdown corner 6 games into his career. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but based on everything I've seen, even when the defense was not playing well, Quinyon was the lone bright spot. This guy is going to be an all-pro corner. I mean, could even do it in his rookie year, who knows? But he's going to be a shutdown corner here in Philadelphia for a long time. I love his humbleness, but also his sneaky aggressiveness. This guy is not afraid of anybody. Yesterday was his first big-time matchup, and he absolutely locked him up. Quinyon Mitchell, 4 targets yesterday for Neighbors, 2 catches allowed, 15 yards, 0 touchdowns, 59 passer rating. Unbelievable pick by the Eagles. He is incredible. Here he is in his first 6 games, 48.3 completion percentage, 197 yards allowed, no touchdowns, 70 quarterback rating, 6 passes defended, 24 tackles, 2 missed tackles, 97% of snaps played. Now we need to get him an interception, but yo, this dude is legit. I don't need to see any more. He is him. He is quickly going to emerge as the leader on this defense if he keeps playing this way, and the Eagles have a really bright superstar here in Quinyon Mitchell. I can't wait to see how it plays out. I want to flip it to the offensive side because we know A.J. Brown is the leader of the offense, at least one of the top 2 or 3. But listen to this stat, man. It kind of puts it in perspective more. The Eagles, when they have A.J. Brown this year, 3-0, 27 points per game. When they don't have A.J. Brown, 1-2, 17 points per game. Wide receivers don't win MVPs, but A.J. certainly belongs on a list of the most valuable players in the league. A.J. is the best wide receiver in the NFL. He is. Talent-wise, speed, size, strength, hands, doesn't matter. A.J. cannot be guarded, and I want to see the Eagles continue to use him more than he's being used. I think A.J. could have a 2,000-yard season if he was healthy the whole year and he was used the way he should be. Speaking of A.J. Brown, right, he keeps making these big plays. The Eagles' offense, this was a little surprising to me, has 40 plus yards on 10 plays this season. They lead the NFL by 3. The Eagles have 10 plays of 40 plus yards, and they're still not using the middle of the field. Here's my concern from yesterday again. Shane Haff puts out the next-gen stats chart from Jalen Hurts. He was fine, right? 10 for 14, and I'm glad they stuck with the run. They stuck with their identity. That's what I want to see more. But they still have not used the middle of the field. Even when they had Dallas Goedert. You have Devontae, who didn't have any catches yesterday, or he had one catch for, -2? If you use the middle of the field, the Eagles could have 15 big plays by now, right? A lot of these catch and run, a lot of these crossers where they get somebody open, they run into the defenders and just create those lanes for success. So, look, man, if the Eagles can continue to develop this offense, I don't know why they're not using the middle of the field, but if they start doing that, I think we get to a point where this offense is what we originally expected it to be, which is unstoppable. And of course, Jalen Hurts, last 2 weeks, 5 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. This offense becomes unstoppable with him not turning the ball over as well. This is the first time in the regular season the Eagles have gone back-to-back games without turning it over since week 13 and 14 of the 2022 season. Again, we got to see it going forward. Jalen making better decisions. Saquon taking a lot of the pressure away. You have your best weapons back. With the defense coming together like this, are we on track for this Eagles team to get going in the right direction and stay here this time? Go ahead and give me all your thoughts down below in the comments section. As always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch you on the next one.
Discover BetMGM Casino and leap into a world filled with all your favorite casino games. Plus exclusive ones you can't find anywhere else. And progressive jackpots that keep growing. All of it right at your fingertips. BetMGM Casino. Start your adventure today